Welcome, everybody, to the Say It Different podcast. My name is Tyler Altoff. I am your host, and I'm joined, as I am every episode, with my good friend, Justin Daly.
Does that mean you're co-host?
Well, I like good friend. It feels more personal. People want authenticity, and we're really friends. We're not just host friends.
Yeah.
So
because I don't want to be the co anything. So
and I know that you don't like to be co anything.
Yeah. So as long as it's like host and friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And host isn't like a leadership role. It's just like I'm here to guide you through the episode. So you're really the leader.
You really
here.
are like such a spiritual leader in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that I'm a spiritual leader. I think I'm a spiritual host.
Sage.
A spiritual host.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, Say It Different podcast. As you can already tell, we're going to say things a little different.
Yeah.
It just means we're going to try to bring some common sense and some biblical perspective and maybe some stupidity to your day. We're just going to kind of talk about the issues that everybody's talking about, and hopefully we say it different than the ways you're used to hearing it, and our perspective adds value to yours.
Yep. And hopefully you've learned a lot from the last episode, and we're going to throw a few more softballs today. You really threw me into the deep end last time. No floaties. Yeah.
Well, that's how we got to go. You just throw them in the deep end, and they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we didn't lose any of our listeners out there, and you came back for more.
I think we probably gained. We either gained followers or more people that will use their deconstructive coaches. Ooh, what if they're not deconstruction? What if they're deconstructive? Ooh, jump back into last week.
We definitely are going to gain some negative comments.
Yeah.
That's real, but that's what we're here for. And listen, speaking of negative comments, I got to let you know.
Okay.
College football is back.
Yes.
And the air feels healthier outside right now.
It's so much better.
I can take
Saturdays and Sundays.
I take a deep breath in, and my lungs are full of life.
Yeah.
So listen, we're big college football fans.
Huge.
And we live in Orlando, so it's home of the UCF Knights. Go
Charge
Knights,
on.
Charge on.
Yep.
And you and I are not UCF fans. And
I am not UCF fan, but I love the coaches. I love the chaplain. John Evans goes to the church, works at the church on our spiritual leadership team. Big fan of people that represent the Knights. Just don't cheer for them on the football field.
I'm not afraid to cheer for them, but I did not grow up in the area, so I don't have any strong.
We don't cheer
ties.
against them.
No, I do not. I do cheer
against self-proclaimed national championships, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, well, we don't need to get into all that. That's not what this episode is about. But college football does reveal some interesting things to me in the world and
for
culture.
Sure. Yeah.
And so college football fans specifically bring a lot of joy and frustration to me on a regular basis. Yeah. So I think right now the story of the season so far has got to be Dion Sanders.
Yes.
Coach Prime.
Coach Prime, please.
Coach Prime.
Yeah.
What I love about Dion
is him.
He is him. He's been him.
Yeah.
He's been him. What I love about Coach Prime is probably the same thing you hate about Coach Prime, which is he's him. Mm-hmm. And he is Dion through and through.
Yep.
We watched the game together, the first game of the season. It's an upset win versus TCU, and it's just this magical game. And we started that game. You were actually saying, I'm not going to root for Colorado. And then by the first quarter,
I was all in.
You're all in.
I was all in.
Yeah, what happened?
I mean, his pregame speech. We ain't coming, we're here. I mean, it's pretty remarkable what he's done, right? I mean, everywhere he's gone, really kind of from nowhere, and just what it seems to be the culture, the program he's built, what he represents. Not just for college football, but for coaches, for minorities. Like, he really is just kind of breaking the mold, and it's just fun on a very small level. Like, we pioneered a very small, tiny thing. Watching somebody pioneer something different.
Oh, respect!
It's just fun.
Yeah,
and just all credit to he's the man.
Yeah, Well,
I would play for him. I mean, I'm not good enough, but if he called
at 42, I'm ready to suit up for him. I'll tell you that right now.
I would have. Yeah. I would have ran through a wall after I was ready to put on a helmet and be a Colorado Buffalo.
Yeah, I actually ran through a wall at my house. I'm going to need some repair
weird.
there. Yeah, it was real strange, but I was fired up. I was FU'd, as they say.
That means fired up, by the way. That's
fired up.
Yeah, for context. Yeah.
I don't know what else it could mean.
Well, it could mean something bad. We're going to get like a fine or something. Is the FCC on these things?
I think we're on Spotify.
SEC or
small thing. Hey, I do want to say this. I feel like college football and college football fans specifically reveals something I think that's huge right now with culture, which is instant gratification.
Oh, for sure.
Right. And so I just was curious because I'm a curious cat. That's why they call me Whiskers. And so I was curious with college football and the average, what do you think the average tenure of a college coach is?
Average tenure
of a Division I football,
3 years.
Which tenure means the average lifespan of a college football coach.
I know what tenure means.
Well, I just want to make sure.
I know I don't have a master's degree, but I know what tenure means. I even know how to spell it if you'd like for me to spell it.
Do it.
Tenure.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'm not educated, but I am smart.
Total package.
Yeah. 3 years would be my guess.
Close. 3.7. 3.7 years.
Yeah.
Right? Which is kind of wild.
It's crazy.
Because they say it takes 3 years just to even set your program up.
Kids graduate in 4. You have 4 years of eligibility.
There's a greater commitment to my kids finishing college than the coach has as a coach.
Yeah.
Kind of a wild deal.
Yeah.
But the instant gratification, right? When this podcast episode's released, it'll be week 3 of the college football season.
Yep.
And I can't imagine the conversations because I'm already hearing them now.
Oh my gosh.
About my team's going to win a national championship because they're 1-0. Right? It's just the craziest thing. And the minute they lose a game, season's over.
Let's just use 2 examples, both in the ACC.
Okay.
Dabo Swinney's lost it because they got beat by Duke.
Yeah, he should be fired.
He should be fired. The best coach in program history, built a legitimate dynasty, hundreds of millions of dollars of buildings, billions probably of dollars donated, not billions, but hundreds of millions of dollars raised for the university. Yeah. And they lose one game in which they had more yards passing, more yards rushing, and less turnovers. Yep. And now it's a terrible program.
Yep.
And then you got FSU guy who thinks that they're all of a sudden in the Bobby Bowden era again after one win.
Yeah. Like that was an impressive performance.
No, impressive.
Yes.
And you could, they did a lot of chanting, which also, this will probably be cut, but how come some teams can still chant and others can't? Can we just, we can't answer that? As 2 white men, we cannot answer that. Do not answer that, actually. You ask the question, don't answer it. But I'm just saying, why can we still have the Seminoles, but we can't have the Indians? Why can we not have the Redskins, but we can have the Seminoles? Just questions to throw out there. Please, listeners, give us your feedback. But yeah, the instant gratification of they're the worst or they're the best is so, it just doesn't take the totality of, because if you look at everything, just these 2 examples, again, I'm not anti-FSU. I actually think they're going to have a great year. If you were listening for college football analytics, I think they're going to have a great season. But they're not all of a sudden great because they won 1 game. And Clemson is not awful because they lost 1 game.
Yeah. No.
But because real money's on the line and because of social media and because of instant gratification, we make assumptions that now a dynasty is built and a dynasty is dead after 1 week.
Yeah. Well, I want to take the lens maybe off of college football specifically and broader onto culture, right? And you referenced it just a moment ago with social media.
Yeah.
And it'd be very easy for us to sound like a couple of boomers here and rail on social media, which I'm all for.
Yeah, we could do that.
If that's what we want to do.
Probably lose some audience, but
But I'm not going to do that.
Show our age.
Because social media is partially to blame for sure, right? But it's not the only issue.
No, it's human nature.
And so I actually want to read you an article quote from an article I read in The Atlantic. And this article specifically was on why people stopped going to church.
Okay.
So if you look at church attendance in America in the last 25 years, it's down 12%, which doesn't sound like a lot like from a number standpoint, 12% is, but if you multiply that to what it was, I mean, this is millions of people that have stopped going to church in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
And here's what this article, which was a completely non-Christian author writing this article. And here's what it says. It says 21st century culture shifted and it's built on self-promotion, maximizing individual accomplishment and finding financial success. This system leaves little time or energy to develop forms of community that don't contribute to one's own professional life.
Wow.
Have you ever heard a more counter Bible like description of culture?
But a perfect description of the culture that we're living in.
Well, what do I do with that? Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm hearing phrases like self-promotion, individual accomplishment, own professional life. Like what do I even do with that? How do I keep a biblical perspective when this is what I'm living in?
Well, I mean, it's not new. So it's not new. Instant gratification is not new. Sin is not new. Distractions aren't new. We're just more aware of them because of technology, right? Like we didn't know what everybody was doing on vacation 20 years ago. So now we have this comparison. We got to have better vacations. We got to have better cars. We got to have better decorations in our home. Like we got to have more rugs, more pillows, more colors. What's your color wheel? All the things that are just so big right now. But we didn't know what everybody was doing. Now we do. And so now not only are we wired like physically, emotionally, in our being, in our nature for instant gratification, now we see what's available. We see what's out there, what's marketed to us. So now it's not that it's new, it's just so available.
Yeah.
And something that probably isn't even what you meant to bring to the table, but when I even hear that definition or that quote from that article, I even think about the people that go to church. A lot of the motives are in that same statement.
Yeah.
Self-promotion. I want to feel better about myself. Personal advancement. So many people come to church for networking, for business. Like they're not even here to worship. They're here to get something for themselves. So many parents, thank God they do, start coming back to church when their kids are there because that's where their friends are. I want them. It's not always. It's oftentimes a personal agenda of why you don't go to church or even why you do go to church. And either way, the enemy's kind of winning because the main focus isn't on God, on worshiping Jesus or whatever the main thing should be.
Yeah. Can I kind of break down a couple of those phrases with you and just kind of process some of it? Like the first phrase that sticks out to me in that quote is that phrase self-promotion. Mm-hmm. And you and I are a couple of guys and guys love to talk about themselves.
Oh, for sure.
Right. And so whether it's what I was in high school, whether it's who I'm dating, whether it's who I'm married to, whether it's my job, how much I make, what I drive, what my golf score was, like it's all about self-promotion. Right. And a lot of that's great and fine because it's just some trash talking. Right. So what is the balance of being able to talk about myself, but also keep a sense of humility, which is what the Bible calls me to do. So again, you and I are pastors, and so we're professional Christians. Think about the guy that's going to the workplace and office place, and a lot of corporate America is trying to separate yourself from the pack, right? Yeah. So how do I live in that tension of being able to push myself out there, but also keep a posture of humility that, right? I'm living kind of not for the limelight.
I don't know if I'm answering it correctly or the most kind of deductive way, but like I kind of see three different areas of our life, right? It's okay to promote yourself in business if you're in business, like that makes sense. And it's okay to promote yourself a little bit around your closest friends. Like I would want to celebrate with you a golf score. I'd want to celebrate, with my closest friends, a promotion. Yeah. But I think when we allow our identity to be wrapped up in what we've done or what we're going to do, now we get in that middle ground of all of our other relationships, kind of the place where we're supposed to be living on mission or helping people. And now we let it consume everything. So now every conversation's about me. Every conversation's about what I've done. Yeah. And I think that's what I see in the world is that there's a time like you should be able to brag to those closest to you. And you should be able to promote your business or promote your gifts in the business world or the corporate world or whatever that space is online. But when you live that whole life of self-promotion, it's just everything's about you. Yeah. And we all know those people, and nobody wants to. You may wonder why it's a little bit lonely because you don't listen to anybody. You don't talk to anybody. Yeah. And we live in a world that doesn't ask enough questions, that makes too many assumptions and too many opinions, and we talk too much about ourselves. Yeah. And that is literally one of the biggest red flags or telltale signs, evidence of insecurity. If you have to always make it about you, you're not comfortable enough in your own skin to be in real community, real conversations, listen to others, because you just have to always bring it back. And I think it's another tool of the enemy to separate us, to keep us isolated, and to keep us distracted, because we're not going to be in close relationships if everything always has to revolve around us.
Yeah, no, you lose the ability to have a real conversation, right? Because you're just waiting for your next checklist of accomplishment to say, well, hey, what about, I remember I did this, or I remember when I was doing this, I did this. And it's like, well, great.
We don't listen. We love to promote and talk. Yeah.
The other piece to this quote is that individual accomplishment, right? Mm-hmm. Which again, I don't think that God doesn't want us to accomplish things in life. I think to a certain level, God wants me personally to have individual accomplishments that I'm even proud of. Right. So where does that balance happen? Right. Like I can't make it all about what I'm accomplishing, because I don't live for this world. I don't live for earth as I see it in the physical. I have an eternal perspective.
But we are called to check things off the list, per se.
I would argue I'm called to be successful while I'm here, right? Like
we say all the time, we're not called to be successful, we're called to be faithful.
Yeah.
The difference is success is man-made. Success is subjective.
Yeah.
Faithfulness is objective. We're going to be objectively held to a standard one day of God saying, did you do well in business and life and parenting with the things that I gave you? Like, it's not individual accomplishment. It's an individual accomplishing the path that God put out in front of them.
Yeah.
Not what the world did. And it doesn't have to be big things. It could just be small, obedient, sacrificial things. In fact, we used to say this a lot. And when I hear pastors say, I'm probably going to offend somebody, I'm going to do big things for God. No, you're not. God's infinite. What big thing? You're going to wow God? No, you're going to do the little, small, minuscule things in perspective to what he did faithfully. And then you're kind of going to let the chips fall where they may. Like we want to do these big things for God because we've now brought the world and accomplishment we've brought secular accomplishment into our biblical calling. Yeah. When God just wants us to be faithful. He wants me to be a good husband, a good dad, a good businessman, a good pastor. And if I'm faithful, then we leave the end goal up to him. My job is to be faithful. His job is to bless. My job is not to dictate the outcome, is to take the faithful steps. And then he defines that.
Yeah. So how do you stay faithful when I can go in the time machine and go back to early 2000s. I'm at the time I'm teaching high school. I'm 26, 27 years old. Yeah. And I'm making, I don't know, $40K a year, but I know I'm supposed to be a teacher at the time. Yeah. And I've got buddies at that time who are into real estate. They're owning businesses and they're making double what I'm making. Right. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror thinking, man, is there something else out there? Like I'm just comparing my life to that. And now you amplify that with social media now.
That's
and
the
it's
danger.
all of it, right? So like how are you staying faithful now when it's that on steroids?
That's the temptation. I think so many people have given up on their calling because I got to do something big. I got to do something great.
Yeah.
And they're like, bro, you're 23.
Yeah.
Like I was sharing an apartment with a friend, one car for our family at 23. Like I didn't have multiple businesses. I wasn't a pastor of a church. Like I'm almost 40. It's not, people want to wake up one day and just be a big deal. Like that, I'm going to be like, I deserve this, or somebody else has this. First off, you don't know what they had to do to get it. You don't know the variables. You don't know what God did, what somebody else did. You don't know if it was generational. You don't have any of those details. And so we spend so much time looking at what other people are doing or what God is doing for other people. And we're just never going to be held accountable for that. Like that's not a part of our journey. That's not a part of our calling. So well-intentioned, good Christian business people or pastors are so distracted about what other people are doing. That's one of the greatest gifts of the past 2 or 3 years of our journey, of my personal journey, of all the tragedy and all of the loss, is like, it's kind of created this tunnel vision of like, I'm just going to be who God has called me to be. I don't care what anyone else is doing. Yeah. I don't care what anyone else is doing on social media. I don't care what any churches are doing. Like I support them, cheer for them, have great friends, but I'm not worried about what God is doing in somebody else's life and let that distract me from what he needs me to do right here in my home, in my businesses, in our church in Central Florida. I think we just get so distracted. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm completely off the grid with social media. And we're in a hurry. Like, I think that if I could tell young people or new Christians, like, we're in a hurry. Like the old Alabama, we're in a hurry to get things done. Like that crazy. You rush and rush. Till life's no fun. Yeah. All I want to do is live and die. I'm in a hurry. I don't know why. I just don't know why. I don't know why. That's a great reference. We're just such in a hurry, and it takes so much more work, so much more pressure and stress than people think. And so I think so many times there's a couple of things. One, we shouldn't compare, but two, we want something that somebody else has, but most people aren't willing to walk through the process that they had to walk through to get it. And so walk the process and then see what God does. I think if I could encourage somebody in their business journey or their success journey, their faithfulness journey, is just be faithful each day. Work harder than anybody else. You want to be successful. Learn more than anybody else. Be faithful right where you are, and then just keep taking steps and let God open the doors. What I've seen is people try and force open the doors, or they jump. They think the next opportunity. We see so many young people come through our church or come through our staff, and they're like, well, I'm going to go here. Well, yeah, I'm going to make $5,000 more, but now I have a lid, and that's not what God had for me. And we see it time after time that when people get in a hurry, they make a jump for an opportunity that wasn't a calling, and now they haven't taken a shortcut, they've taken a detour.
Yeah. You said something at the beginning of that where you're saying just be faithful, be your best every day. And I tell my kids all the time, especially in sports right now, which the three of them are in, is I need you to be your best, not the best, right? And I think that's just a really great life lesson. This
is really off topic, but Kingston was really wrestling today with, it was crying all night and this morning about standardized testing.
Yeah.
Because there's so much comparison.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the teacher was, and hopefully they don't listen to this, but they're like, your grade depends on this. And I had to tell him, a standardized test and some teacher speaking ignorantly does not define who you are.
Right.
I need you to be your best. Dad made C's. Dad came in 5th to last in my graduating class. And now we own multiple businesses and we have a great church. And I was dumb to standardized tests and to what people told me I should be. And he felt so much pressure because he's going to be compared to everybody. He's not everybody else.
Yeah.
So son, do your best and don't let a teacher, a test, or a system define you. Just wake up tomorrow, eat your chicken minis, put a smile on your face, go be kind to people, and do your best, and then we'll figure out everything else. So what if I'm not smart? What if I don't get good grades? It doesn't matter. If you do your best in every situation, which goes back to if you're just faithful. So let's take that, extrapolate that to spiritual things. If you're just faithful, I'm not going to let the world define me, because if I compare myself, I'm either going to be arrogant because I'm better than you, or insecure because I'm not as good as you, which both leaves me stagnant and lazy and not in faithfulness.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to be faithful right where I am, whether I'm a 3rd grader in school, whether I'm working a minimum wage job, whether I'm a CEO, because what I'm afraid of for me and my boys is not, being ready for when God has the opportunity. So I'm not worried about chasing things in the distance. I'm worried about being better every day so that when that opportunity presents itself, I'm ready.
Right.
Both mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And so I think we're focused on the wrong thing. We're focused out here or on others. And if we focus right here, our relationship with God and the faithful steps, I think we will be ready and good stewards of the opportunity that he provides.
Yeah. Well, going back to college football, right? I mean, you're not going to show up as a freshman and necessarily be the starter, right? It's faithful effort at practice and waiting for your time to come.
There's so many stories of quarterbacks that sat on the bench until their senior year, and they're national champs, and they're I mean, you look at Tom Brady, like he was back and forth in college, drafted last, like sat on the bench behind Drew Bledsoe. Like it was.
Has there ever been a more impressive body type to be Hall of Fame GOAT than Tom Brady? I mean, he has the most dad bod I've ever seen in my life.
His combine pictures.
Oh, he's
living proof that you're not ugly, you're just poor. You know what I mean? Like he literally went from like kind of overweight, and his face changed. Like you know, if we got a little more money, maybe we wouldn't be quite as unattractive. So we're not ugly, we're just poor.
Yeah, no, I would love to have a personal chef. That'd be great. That would be amazing. Chicken minis on the house. Yeah.
You're gonna have a Chick-fil-A chef, or
I would have a chef that could make Chick-fil-A
Here's a question:
food.
if you are a cook at a certain level restaurant, are you actually a chef? Like, can you be a chef at Chili's?
No.
Okay.
I don't
know.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Just a random thought.
Not Chili's.
Okay. I love Chili's, by the way.
Yeah, I think the measure of a chef.
Baby back.
That's an old school. Yeah. That's an old school reference. Yeah, you lost some people on that one. You got to YouTube that. But I will say a chef has to create their own things. Okay. They can't just be looking at a book, with the recipes already measured out for them.
They got to be creators.
Takes a little bit of awareness there. Yeah. Well, last piece of this quote.
Okay.
Is honestly, I think it's really the scariest part of that quote to me. It says that this system of self-promotion and individual accomplishment, that this system, it leaves little time or energy to develop forms of community that don't contribute to one's own professional life.
For sure.
That's really kind of the issue, right? Is that if it doesn't benefit, if I can't see any financial benefit here, then I'm out. It doesn't have any attraction to me, which kind of like says any community outside of community that's going to help you get better is worthless community, which arguably is the church, which is arguably real relationships, which is arguably friendships, because I would say there's an argument to be made that they do make you better, but from a worldly perspective, they don't, which is why we're in the mess that we're in.
Yeah, they don't provide anything to the bottom line, so they're not necessary.
Yeah. And I do think if I peel back another thing, there's two words there that stick out, which is it leaves little time and little energy. Mm-hmm. That's really the problem, right? Yep. That's what the enemy uses against us.
For sure.
Is it's the idol of busy, and it which sucks your time and your energy out, right?
Yeah. Well, and also I was just thinking too, so many people just have, even their relationships are almost all networking for the bottom line too. Yeah. So they don't hang out with anybody. So whether it be their business groups, their who they work out with, who they play golf with, it's still all a checkbox to achieve something.
It has to be exhausting, right? Like if you're in that, just not having any real connections with people.
It's like, I mean, relationships obviously are not a Sabbath. Maybe we can talk about that one day, but relationships are supposed to be safe, secure, and a place of rest, right? Like, so if we don't have real relationships that are just for us because of who we are and not what we do, that's exhausting. Yeah. And that's why you see so much addiction. That's why you see so much stress, anxiety, depression. It's because there's no authentic relationships. Yeah. So there's no place to just be off. There's no place to just be you and to live and to watch football or cook or go, like there's or whatever your hobby.
Be a chef.
Yeah, be a chef. Yeah. Learn to be a chef.
Right.
Go from a cook to a chef.
And it's not Chili's.
No, well, it could be. I disagree. There's some great things at Chili's.
Maybe Applebee's.
No, Chili's is above Applebee's.
Ruby Tuesday.
Chili's is above Ruby Tuesdays.
Hot take.
Oh no, not even
that
close.
Salad bar.
No.
Wow.
The fact that you had to say salad bar moves it down.
It's a heck of a salad bar. Have you been there?
Yeah, it's an upgrade Golden Corral.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. We should have a whole episode.
Off.
We should have a whole episode on ranking fast food.
I'm sorry.
Back to the point I was making.
I'm so sorry I interrupted a really great thought, but you said something there that I couldn't track with. I'm sorry. For the Ruby Tuesday employees out there, I got your back. I'm on Team Ruby.
Closing. I don't even know where one is.
We're bringing back the salad bar at Ruby's.
Okay. Why don't I just go to Publix and make a salad bar and we can?
That's a lot of work. I'm not a chef.
Great. Full circle. I don't remember what I was saying anymore. Totally ruined it.
We were talking about energy and time and.
Yeah, I think we should start with the most important things, which is our relationship with God.
Yeah.
Is our relationship with others. And I really feel like if people would, in our context, hopefully find church again.
Yeah.
But let's just say you're not a Christian, you don't believe all this yet, you're still on a journey, you just like to make fun of us and listen to us, that's fine. Find community. I really think you'll be healthier if you find who you are, and people around you will support you in your goals in life and becoming a better person, you will be happier. Yeah. Now, I know you're not going to be fulfilled until you find Jesus, but I'm telling you, these people that are just running the rat race, just comparing, just self-promoting, and they're not doing life with people, they're missing out on such a big part of the specialness of humanity, of this journey we're on. I mean, I pray they find Jesus and actually don't just find happiness, they find joy and they find fulfillment. But gosh, the comparison game, the self-significance game has got to stop. Like faithful obedience or just taking the next small steps in your progression, whether from a Christian perspective or a secular perspective, I think both will make you a happier individual, a more fulfilled individual.
For sure. Yeah. Well, listen, I think we're running out of time with this episode. So thanks.
Let's put on the docket that we need to really, I think there's 3 levels of fast food chains. And I'm passionate about these. Yeah. And so I'd like to rank like bronze,
Chili's.
silver, gold. That's quick service. Now I'm talking about fast food.
Well, you just completely shifted the game here. We were talking
Okay,
Chili's,
well, we
Ruby
can go
Tuesdays, and Applebee's.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to go there,
Yeah.
but I
think
mean,
we should go there.
I'll entertain the conversation.
And we could be bought. So if there's any sponsors, any free food opportunities.
Hold on. Who else is in that vein of Chili's, Ruby Tuesdays, Applebee's? Is Bennigan's still around? Bennigan's has been gone for a while.
I think Bennigan's and Ruby Tuesdays are both fighting for the going out of business sale market. No, I don't know.
It's the Bed Bath & Beyond.
No, I would
service.
say you've got Applebee's, Ruby Tuesdays, TGI Fridays are all in the bottom.
Fridays.
Bottom.
Yeah.
I think Chili's is right above them. I think Outback is significantly above Chili's.
Is Outback in that same league?
Oh no, it's a couple notches above for me personally.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I put Outback and Carrabba's both up a little bit over those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you on that.
Yeah. You've got a Red Robin would be up there, I think, in the Outback. Yeah.
Red Robin's a full yum. Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
P.F. Chang's way up there.
Well, now you're getting into fancy dining. What is this, date night? We're getting into fancy fine dining now.
chains.
P.F. Chang's.
We've derailed. I think we're way over our time.
We are. Well,
yeah. But we'd love sponsors.
We do. We would.
We don't actually need sponsors. We don't. But
decent
free food.
Yeah, decent food.
I'd love
decent
to eat.
food. I don't like all free food, but decent food I could do.
But which food would be your least favorite out of those restaurants that we just named?
I don't think I want to answer that because
Ruby Tuesdays.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. We really hope that it was useful, beneficial. And if it was, subscribe,
like, share, 5-star reviews only.
5-star reviews only. That's it. Hey, we'll see you next episode. Have a great week.